So,
What's the number one objection usually?
oh gosh, that's a really good one. I mean, usually it's, and it's not always an objection. It might be, a I need to be sold more. I need to. They have some fear. They're not quite sold, and they'll make the excuse, I need to go talk to my spouse. Um, Things like that. But I would say, you know, pricing. Many times it's pricing. And unless we've got a property that we're blowing out, and there's we're really really well priced amongst the competition. Um, so I mean, I try to price my properties on the high side, and do a really professional job of marketing. Um, Versus a lot of people are in the race to the bottom where they'll get a property and they keep trying to keep undercutting everybody. Um, so it really depends. I don't know, what's the number one objection that you see?
I was going to say price.
Yeah.
Because, even if you're well priced, it doesn't matter. I mean, every conversation is a negotiation. And what'll happen is people will get on the call, and that's the first question they're going to ask. They're going to ask about price, pricing. And I think it's really important in the sales process to get them off that conversation as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
Because if all you're doing is saying, here's a piece of land, here's how much it cost, it doesn't matter what you're selling. I mean, you want to sell on value, and so if you haven't had an opportunity to establish the value, then how can you establish a price? And
Right.
so I would usually say, I totally understand where you're coming from, and price is obviously one of the most important parts of this conversation. But if I could just ask a couple of questions, because I'd really like to understand where you're coming from, and I want to make sure that the property we're talking about is actually going to meet your needs, and understand how it's going to meet your needs. And then we can talk about what the value of the property is. And I never say the price of the property, I would say the value of the property. And then they're always amenable. It's like, okay, and they let me lead at that point, and we always come back to it. But now we've come back to, we've established by that time, one, what their needs are, two, that this property will meet their needs, and hopefully, as you said, created some kind of emotional connection to it. and
Not
and
just not just to it, to
to,
you.
yes, 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 I was
You.
going to say that, right.
Because people buy you, then the company, then the product. So it gives you additional opportunity to go build deeper rapport and help them to understand that you actually care about their needs and not just making a commission check, you know? Um, and so you build an even deeper emotional connection. And you know what? So you're $1,000 more, $2,000 more, whatever. You're a little bit higher than these other ones advertised, but it's still within their budget, and they feel like you're professional, like, they trust you, and now they want to do business with you. And so it becomes less about price. Once you go to price and you become a commodity. You're
You
just a
can't get away
commodity.
from it.
There's no difference from anybody else. You got to get away from price, talk about the value, build deeper rapport, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to win that sale if you do that skillfully.
So you mentioned another thing that people say usually at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by the way, when people are cranky, or they want to get, or they just want to talk price, I can deal with those people all day long. I have no problem with it. My problem are the people who are really nice. I hate talking to people who are really nice, because they never tell you the truth. They try to
Right.
make you feel good. And so you got to work really, really hard to get past that veneer and find out what really matters to them. Because they'll tell you, oh, I love the property. Oh, I'm definitely going to buy the property. Blah, blah, blah. I just got to talk to my wife. Blah, blah, blah. They're not, they're full of it.
Yeah. Um, you know, Yeah, because sometimes they're just fishing for information, and they're nice. I mean, I've been on calls with people where I've wasted a lot of time, but a couple of those people have come back later to buy from me.
Mhm.
So, when you do sense that, the sale's not going to happen, and you need to try to get them off the phone, you still want to be very tactful, because that person's still on your prospect list. They're still getting your deals of the week and your emails. And I've sold, multiple properties from my email list, because the property legitimately that they were interested in initially, just, they were probably ready to buy, but it just wasn't the property that they quite wanted. Or they may not have been quite ready to buy, right? And that property sold out from under them because they drug their feet. But you built a trust and a rapport with them, so now they're keeping an eye on your stuff, And when it comes in, oh, that looks good. They look at it, they call you up. Yeah, let's do it. I probably sold 10 properties like that over a few years.